Morning, everyone. This is Luciana Turner of the LT&A Consulting Group, and welcome to this morning's installment of Morning Tidbits. Whew. Now, you know how we was raised. When you come in the room, just say hello. And if you're catching this by the replay, do hashtag replay. Now, all of the recordings for Morning Tidbits can be found on my YouTube channel, LT&A Consulting Group. Just periodically, and within the next couple of weeks, I'm going to go through and wipe the recording out from all of my other platforms. But all of the recordings can be found on my YouTube channel. This morning, I wanted to share with you my journey when I first started my business, and I wrote my first proposal. And the reason why I'm deciding to share this is simply this. I saw a post where this person's a nonprofit, and in my world, nonprofits and government contractors are the same thing. I'll do another live discussing that at another time, but just work with me a little bit. And she was complaining that she spent money on a grant writer and still didn't win the grant. And I saw people in her comment section agreeing with her that she spent all this money for a grant writer, and then the grant writer charged her one price for writing the grant and another price for writing the budget and the budget narrative. And where this is coming from, or where I'm coming from, is this. When I first started my government contracting business, I decided to hire a proposal writer. And I had a reason for doing it. And at this time, I don't even know why. But I hired the proposal writer. They wrote the proposal. I really didn't have time to review it before I turned it in. But I turned it in, didn't win the award. But then I went back and reviewed what the proposal writer wrote. Now, had I written the proposal, I wouldn't have written it the way it was written. However, I recognized what happened in that process, or during that process. My losing the contract or the award had nothing to do with the proposal writer and everything to do with the quality of the material given to the proposal writer, which is why I counsel my clients to write your first 3 or 4 proposals, maybe in your first 5 or 6. It gives you respect for what they have to do, and it also gives you an idea what the process is like, so it's easy to hire a writer. And also it gives you the ability to craft what I like to call standard responses. But let's go forward and go back to the quality of the material given. What I noticed was the person took liberties with what I gave them. But that's because they weren't in my mind. And now I know why. I remember why I hired the proposal writer, but that's not important to the story. They took liberties with what I had given them. And in their taking liberties, I just would not have written it the way it was written. Because I understand, coming from that world, that the proposal reader doesn't necessarily want to read a proposal filled with I'm a newbie, I'm a newbie, I'm a newbie, because that can come off as I don't know what I'm doing. I prefer to lead with my skills and my expertise. I talk up my knowledge and not try to lean upon the fact that I'm a small business and you need to meet your goals. It's the switching at the perspectives. So while they may have been a good proposal writing company or proposal writing team, I will never sit here and bash that company or that team. A lot of times companies lose out on awards because they don't speak from the proper perspective. And that was one of the key takeaways I took from that loss. Perspective is everything in the proposal writing process. What are you talking up? Are you talking up something and it comes across as you hiding? Or are you talking up something and it comes across as you walking and talking and speaking in power? It's a difference. And the proposal writer and the grant writer or whomever can only do but so much with what they're given. Now, are there some individuals operating out of integrity? Yes. However, you can vet better if you write your first field. So you can get a feel for what they should or should not know how to write, or should or should not know what to include or not include. But if you just pass it all off, then it's hard to vet and you're really just flying in the wind. It's a conversation that a friend of mine and I have had multiple times, and maybe we need to revive that conversation on my podcast. But it's a thought. And it's something that I've kept with me from that day to this one. Perspective in the proposal writing process, the angle, how you positioning your language and your skills, even when you have a deficit and there's certain areas that you're not as strong in, which is where you should be subbing out the work, you're not as strong in. It is how you write your case. That was the lesson I learned from that first experience. Well, that's all I have for you this morning. And I will check back with you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for another installment of Morning Tidbits. I invite you to book a session with me. Now, in this season, my sessions are no longer free because all of my sessions are mini coaching sessions. And I come from the perspective of the audit in mind. And I have been described as intense, and I wear that as a badge of honor because I take this seriously. Contracting is a very expensive, high-risk endeavor that yields a high reward. So book a session with me. Let's see how we can take your contracting business to the next level this year. And with that, have an amazing day. And I will see you tomorrow morning for another installment of Morning Tidbits.